Sweet. The recording is started. So yeah, thanks again everyone for coming. Got some new faces here. My name is Dustin, and I'm a volunteer for Elegant Themes and to host this meetup every month here in the Salt Lake City area. But because of COVID, we now have a more global audience. So anyways, so I own my own business. It's called Cobalt Graphics, and I build custom Divi WordPress websites all day long for all kinds of people in all kinds of industries. And I've been doing that full time for the last 5.5 years, but I had been doing it on the side for about 5 years before that. So that's a tiny bit about me. And today, to kind of get us started, I was going to do a demo of how to use dynamic content and how we can use that feature to create like custom page titles on all of our pages so they can be consistent across the board. So let's just dive into that, and then we can answer questions along the way. Okay. You guys can see that, I'm sure. Yes, sweet. Okay, so this is the demo site that I've got, and I'm just going to enable Visual Builder right here. And we're just going to kind of walk through the process I go through for building a page title using dynamic content. So I think we got Jan in here. All right. So with Visual Builder, let's see, why is it? This is weird. Hold on. Okay. So starting designing a new page, I'm just going to insert a row. I'm going to do a full width row, and I'm going to add the text module. And with the text module, this is where I want my page title to be, and I want it to pull in the page title that we gave it when we created the page. So I'm going to click on, it's hard to see, but there's this like icon here in the top right corner. But if we do the text module, it's a little, or the text tab, it's easier to see this icon with the plus sign, and that's just the dynamic content icon. So if you see that icon in any field in any of these modules, that means you have the option to insert dynamic content into the module. So we have a few options here. This site doesn't have a whole lot running on it, so we don't have as many options. But if we were to have something like WooCommerce running or custom post types with advanced custom fields, we would see more of those options showing up here. So we have more people joining. And so we're going to select the page/archive title option. And because it's our page title, and it's going to be at the top of the page, proper HTML structure is to add your H1 tags before and after the text. Okay. So we're going to add that. It's currently blank right now because I actually did not add a title when I created this new page, but we can add that by just editing the page settings here in this settings icon on the bottom. So we're just going to give a title. So we're going to do, we'll call it dynamic content. Okay. Now you can see that it populated already with our page title. And now we can just style it like we normally would anything else. So we're going to edit our H1 styles and try to make it a tiny bit fancy. Give it some size. This is our page title. And I think that's pretty good. We'll do some some quick section styling here, just for the sake of our demo here. So let's add a pattern like that. Okay. And then we'll just add another section below it just so we can kind of see some different things going on. Okay. So this is our page title. We like this, what's going on so far, but we're ready to move on. And what I like to do here, so I can keep things consistent on every page, is I will save this section to my library. And we're going to call this page title section. Simply, you can call it whatever you want. But what's important here is we're going to save this section to the library as a global section. Okay. So we'll save that to library. And now when we hover over it, it used to be blue for our section. The row was a different color green, and our module was also gray. But because it's global, it now turns lime green for all of it. And that lime green color indicates that it is a global module. So any page that we're on that has this global section put on it, any change we make will reflect across the board. So that's one thing that I probably need to emphasize a lot here is if you change a global section, it will reflect throughout the entire site. So if you delete a module or change the color, anything at all, it will reflect throughout the website. And I have worked with a lot of clients who will make a change in one of these, not realizing what it was doing, and it impacted the whole website. Then they would spend hours going page by page trying to correct it and disabling the global modules aspect, and wasted hours when all they had to do is just ask me what was going on, and they could have done it in 15 minutes rather than staying awake all night trying to fix it. So anyway, so that's that. So we're going to save, publish this page, and we're going to go and we're going to add another new page, and we're going to add this section again, and we're going to make changes to it. So let's just add a new page. And we're going to call this our services, typical other page that a website might have. And we're going to enable the Divi builder on that one. We're going to build from scratch. And I'm going to add a new section right here, and we're going to add from library this time. And this is going to pull up our Divi library options for anything that's a section that's been saved. It's not going to show everything that's in the library, just anything that's related to it. And hopefully it loads fairly quickly here for us. There we go. So page title section, that's what we just saved. And we see this green, lime green world icon that just indicates it's a global section. So we'll click that, use this section, and it's going to add it in just like we had designed it before. But like I said, we want to make some changes to this. So I'm just going to make it up super quick. Just so we can see some changes like that. I'll change the center of our title. And let's also change the color to blue. Okay. So I'm going to save this page. And I'm going to come back to our dynamic content page that we were just working on. So I'm just going to simply refresh this page. And you can see how our section has now changed to reflect the changes we made on our other page. But what's nice about the dynamic content portion of this is I didn't have to do anything to change the page title. And that's the real benefit here is I can now go and add this section on all of my pages and have a consistent page title. And if I ever need to change the font size, the color, the background, any of that, it will reflect throughout the entire website. And I don't have to go through and make these changes all because I have a different page title for each one. So that's a benefit there. So let's take it a step further and just show some more dynamic content. Let's say on our pages, in our page title, we also want to show some different things like the date or who created the page. So we can do the date. That's a pretty easy one. We could do a default format. I typically like this format. And so we'll select that, and you can see it's already loading in the date for us, which is really nice. So now we can just style it like we normally would. We'll center it, and we'll just make it bold. Okay. Easy peasy, but now we don't have to add in the date manually or find other plugins to do that or any of that nonsense. It's all right here with our dynamic content, and we're good to go. So pretty simple, but super powerful feature with all of that. So any questions so far about how it works? I can show you a real live website that's using dynamic content heavily, so you can kind of get an idea of just some more of the power behind it. So any questions? Otherwise, I'll keep moving forward for a little bit. All good. Okay. Let's jump over to this website. This is a website I'm actively working on, Apt Environmental. And I'll just show you super quick some of the different things we've added in here. So we're using custom post types for things such as locations, a pest library. This is a pest control company. So we've got a pest library, and we're using custom fields to populate those other post types, those areas. So for pest types, let's do library, pest library. And this is truly all for the benefit of other people being able to come in, add content easily without having to touch the design at all. So we've got these different areas such as a summary, characteristics, harborage, how we treat them, things like that. So let's just go look at one super quick. And this is just more backstory just to show what we're doing and why we're doing it, okay? So let's take a look at the American cockroach post. And it has all those custom post types we had just added using the advanced custom fields, okay? So just text fields, super simple, not a whole lot going on here, but really easy for anyone to come in and add content. Great. So now, using the Divi theme builder, and I think I've got it open over here. Let's close this one. So using theme builder, we're now creating a template around all of the pest library posts. And because we can use dynamic content, we can call in things such as the characteristics or the harborage. And so when we edit this toggle, let's just delete this super quick. So we have a toggle with the label characteristics. We're going to use dynamic content to then pull in the pest characteristics. So we've got all kinds of dynamic content options here on this website, as you can see. Now I'm going to scroll down to where it says ACF Pest Library. And I'm going to select Pest Characteristics as an option. And I'm going to enable raw HTML only because in our post editing area here is a WYSIWYG. So if they were to bold text, add links, any of that, I want that to reflect in the text that shows up in our template. So I'm going to enable raw HTML so that all that comes through exactly as the user would input it. Okay. So I'm just going to check that. Then we'll save it. Okay. So now let's just view this post really quick. You can see the design behind it. And using dynamic content, again, just emphasizing that, we're pulling in the title of the post, the featured image, the summary that we had. Then we've got our characteristics content in the toggle, harborage, how we treat them. This is all dynamic content pulling in. And it's the same for every pest type that we have. And they don't have to touch the design at all. If they want to add more pests, take pests away, change the content that's here, they can. They don't have to ever touch the design. And I don't have to worry about them touching the design and messing something up. And that's the beauty of dynamic content, is we can make it really easy for them to add different areas of content, and then we can design around it, and then they don't have to touch it. So that's a more advanced look at some dynamic content and how we're using it, and just kind of the power of it. But truly, the simplest form of it is page titles and creating global sections, or any global element that you save to the Divi library, and it'll just be the same anywhere you put it. And it makes it really easy to just maintain a website that can grow and can get really hard to maintain as you keep adding more pages or posts. So there you go. Any questions so far?
Hey, Dustin,
Yeah.
can you go back and show where you laid that out? Because I noticed what you did was you used the Divi layout builder to create a layout, which then your client can go ahead and populate. They can take a copy of that and populate with what they need to upload, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I think you may have lost some folks when you went to custom field types or custom post types and fields. Because I understand that, but some people may not. And then how you tied that in with the dynamic, how you were able to go pick that, because you kind of scrolled through the options on the dynamic tab pretty quick.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can go through that a little slower. And yeah, just feel free to interrupt me again if we need to go through it and answer questions or do it slower. Yeah, so don't hesitate. All right, so let me share my screen. And all right, so we're going to start more back at the custom post types and then custom fields. And there was a question about what plugin we're using for some of that. So first, let's start with what plugins we're using to create that. So let's go to our list of plugins. And to create the custom post type, and the post type is just another section of the website that can behave like our posts or our pages, whatever that might be, but it's just a segment, a custom segment of any of that, things that we don't want intermingled. So for this website, we don't want Pest Library intermingled with our blog content or our locations intermingled with our regular pages. So we've used this plugin here, Custom Post Type UI, and this makes it really easy. It does all the coding for you to just create custom areas of your website. Okay, I think it's very straightforward in what it does, and it can guide you through the process. So this is what it looks like. Just creating a custom post type, text in different areas, and then just features of what it can do. And I think it does a fairly good job explaining what it can do. But again, this is more advanced. So if you feel like it's way over your head right now, I wouldn't stress about it. However, if you want to add additional fields, let's go back to our plugins page. If you want to add additional fields to existing areas of your website, I like to use this plugin called Advanced Custom Fields Pro. And this, I think, is a true game changer in what we can do with the website, because it just gives us all kinds of options. So the way that works, And we'll just go to that section here. So these are field groups. So we've been talking about the pest library. So we'll just use that as our example here. So we're going to come down to settings real quick. So post type. So again, we talk about custom post types, right? This is just areas of the website. And we can select what we want, what it's going to attach to. Okay, so we want post types is equal to, and we have a list of posts. And you can see we have posts, pages, layouts for the Divi library, and then other areas that have been in here. So like Divi bars, locations, things like that. So for this, I only want these fields up here. So pest summary, pest characteristics, harborage. I only want those to show up on our pest posts, our pest pages. Okay. So that's how this plugin is working, is it's attaching these fields to those posts. However, we could create fields for WooCommerce products, additional pages if we want our pages to have a specific field, such as a link to a resource, right? Or like you have a button on your page and you want it to link differently depending on the page. And so you could create a URL field for a button on the page. So just some ideas. Again, more advanced in what you can do with this, and take a little playing around with the concept and how it kind of integrates with different things. But that's what we're using. And so these are custom fields that we can now latch onto with dynamic content with Divi, because now the things are connected, and Divi works with this plugin, Advanced Custom Fields. So how am I doing, Chris? Have we lost anyone? Thumbs up. All right, cool. So again, we'll just review it super quick just to kind of tie it together. So just make note of our field labels here, like pest summary, pest characteristics. Okay, that's what I name them. So now when we come to our Divi theme builder, we're going to load in our our pests template, all pest template. And again, we'll just use characteristics as an example. Now, when we enable dynamic content by clicking on this icon in any module that has it, we'll see a list of all of our dynamic content options through the custom post type fields. Okay. And as we scroll, we got a bunch of options. This section here looks like gibberish almost. These have been added in through other plugins, but really the ones that I'm more interested in are the ones that I created. So we have our pest library through the advanced custom fields. So the ACF is our advanced custom fields. Whoop, clicked off of it. And I want to add the pest characteristics to this toggle. So I'm just going to select that. And again, I enable write HTML because it's a WYSIWYG on the other end. So I want any links, bold text, italicized, anything that they're going to add in there, I want to come through exactly as that in here. So that's all I got to do. Check, check, and that's it. So now when we go to the page, when the page is actually loaded, it'll pull in the text for characteristics for this specific post. And now I can have a consistent design for everyone. I only have to design one template for all of these. And I think there's like 39 different pest types that they've have content for. So rather than building 39 pages for each one, even though the design is the same, I don't have to build 39. I only have to build one, and then dynamic content is going to pipe in all the content for me. So any change I have to make will reflect across all 39 because of dynamic content. So anyways, how do we do? Make more sense? Sweet. Cool. Any questions? Anything more I can do about that? Chris, I can see you added links to those two plugins. Thank you. You're awesome.
It's always nice looking in the back end of some other developer's plugin stack, to see what they're using. It's like, oh, that's cool. Got to go check that out,
Yeah, seriously. And there's a lot of plugins in there. So for those of you who are new to WordPress, I would definitely say you can have a lot of plugins. All right, it's not a bad thing. The bad thing normally comes from multiple plugins that do the same thing. So try to avoid having plugins that do the same thing, and you'll avoid any sort of code conflict or things like that. So the more unique they are, the less likely you're to have any issues with having a lot of plugins. So, yeah. So that's my demo. I try to keep it short and sweet, but definitely want to open up the floor to anyone who's got questions. It doesn't have to be related to dynamic content. It can be anything about Divi or WordPress or the business of building websites in general. Happy to help with any of that. Yeah, so Chris, you're asking, can I show an example of the Divi bars plugin we're using on the site? So this site, I don't think we're actively using it. I'm trying to think of another one. I have actually steered away a lot from using Divi bars.
No worries. I just noticed as you're going through dynamic content drop-down choices,
Yeah.
It injected a whole bunch of custom fields. I mean, the cool thing, I'm going to jump in here as just another alternative developer voice. Anytime a client comes to you and they have a lot of content that needs to be cross-referenced, like when you go on Wikipedia, you see all these links to other stuff. What Dustin has just showed us is a really fast way to build relational links to all that stuff on a website for a client. So like say if you're a pharmacist, and you're going to go down and you're going to see references to other products, you can easily pipe in links and content to all that stuff using this dynamic content.
Yeah. All right. And thanks, Chris, too, for the input. Yeah, so Brett Brett, thanks for your comments in the chat. Yes, some of this can be a bit overwhelming, but I will have the recording available on YouTube, and I also have previous meetups on my YouTube channel as well, and I shared a link there in the chat for anyone else who might be interested. So, yeah. What else you guys got for me? What else can I show you or help you with?
Man, this guy's knows his stuff, man. Ask him questions. You got him held hostage for another what?
Yeah. Truly.
How much were those plugins?
Say that again.
How much were the plugins that the Advanced Custom Fields Pro? And are those paid or free?
Advanced Custom Fields Pro is a paid plugin.
Okay.
And they've just they got bought out, so I think they're a subscription now.
Oh, I see.
But the custom post type UI plugin, that's free. So I definitely like that one. So but yeah, so those two plugins combined, for anyone who's curious why I use them, is there's situations at times where I need, like a pest library or a locations database of sorts. And while there are plugins out there that could probably do it, they probably offer more than I need, in a way that I don't need. And so by using these two combined, I can create exactly what I need, because really it's just a place to hold certain bits of content, and it makes it easier for other people, like admin assistants or content writers, to just go in and update the content exactly as their business requires it. The different bits. And so I started using these two plugins together because people were asking me to create like a jobs board, like a careers posting or things like that for the business. And I would use one. I found one that I was like, wow, this has everything in it and things like that. And the client was like, I don't need that. I just really need to show the job description and a link to sign up, or submit their application. I was like, that's it. I was like, this plugin is doing like 1,000 other things. You don't want to use it. And so I just decided, like, well, if they can't provide any more than just a paragraph of text and a link, then why would I bloat the website with all this other code and functionality if it's never ever going to be touched? And so by adding two plugins, I can do exactly that. And then with the invention of Theme Builder, it has streamlined so much. It has made life so much easier. So that's why I use those two plugins. I wonder what other plugins I use that might be cool. You guys might be interested in. I just recently got Divi Accessibility Helper through the marketplace. Have you guys seen that?
Mm-mm.
How's it doing for you?
I quite like it, and probably more importantly is its accessibility for Divi, and I'm paying for it, which means I'm more likely to get routine updates for it. Or I'll paste the link in the chat to it. So I would say it's worth it. I mean, you can obviously put on an unlimited number of websites, but has, I think, all the core features you would need for accessibility, all the things that a website needs, especially where Divi has shortcomings in accessibility. So, because there was the one through GitHub that you have to download and was required for people to contribute to it. That was just a bit too risky for me. So anyways, I found this one. I think it's been working out, but if you guys are using anything else for accessibility, definitely send it my way. I'm more interested in using the best option, not any option.
So have you built some pages with this helper?
So I don't build pages with it. What it's
mean,
really doing.
Yeah, I understand it's in the background, but as far as, I mean, have you seen any positive results as far as accessibility? Like, does it actually help on a screen reader? Have you done an A/B test between, like a non-applied accessibility helper page versus for a site versus one with it? Because I mean, I'm a writer basically first and foremost with a design background, so for me writing alt text and stuff for screen readers is a breeze. For other people, it's not, which is where like chat AI is going to be handy, for people who don't write. For me, it's like, crap, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. Yeah, let me just share my screen with some of the settings here so you can see what it's doing. And for me, this is just time-saving stuff. So you can see this. So this is the Divi Accessibility Helper plugin. And then what I really like, this is probably what really sold me here, is when you upload images, it's always going to give us a title, but never an alt text. Unless we go through and are diligent with adding alt text, you could have 800 images in your library and no alt text. And so this just allows us, or puts the title as the alt text, so we have something in it. We'll start passing for accessibility. And then force title is alt text. So just a couple options there, which I thought are really helpful. And then you have just options, to use the title from the media library as opposed to anything you could add in the image module, which is also nice. And then just some general options here, just things are focusable, ARIA support. You can underline links, screen reader text, and then your keyword navigation outline color. So plenty of options here, but
That's
ones
cool.
that I feel like are very helpful, and I feel like everything that, if you're going to run an accessibility report on a website, these are all the things that are flagged right away. The one thing this isn't going to fix is your color contrast errors in your accessibility reports. That's just going to be due diligence in using something like color.adobe.com and using their new accessibility tools here. And you just put in your color so that the contrast ratio is passing for at least the AA standard. AAA, you can forget it. That's a black and white website. So anyway, so this is just diligence on the designer, picking their color palette to make sure that, colors on top or behind each other have enough contrast. So anyways.
So here's a question. Is that color.adobe.com, is that free for anybody to use? I mean, I log in there, I go to that page and I'm a member, I'm a paid Adobe person, so I'm in, but
it's a great question.
Because I know that for my other clients who want to develop their own websites or design their own websites, I try to steer them to resources like the old WebSafe resources.
Yeah.
And then teach them about contrast,
Yeah. I think anyone can use it, but I know there's other tools out there too. So
this is cool. I mean, I never even knew about this.
And what I like about Adobe Color is you can put in your colors that you have, but then they have color suggestions that meet the contrast ratio that's required. And so it might be, a lighter blue or a lighter green, darker or whatever. And so you can apply these and then use those colors instead, if you're looking for contrast.
Yeah, I just loaded that. I just loaded that in an uncached copy of Firefox, and it loads up. It's open. There's no required sign in, so it's a free resource.
Sweet. So yeah, so there you go. So accessibility and Adobe Color, a couple of things I really like. Let me go through this list some more and see what else I'm using that is interesting. Is anyone importing or exporting a lot of content from like website to website, or you run like a WooCommerce store and you've got a bunch of product that you need to add or something like that? I got some plugins here that I really enjoy using.
Yeah, anything to make WooCommerce life easier is always good.
Totally. Cool. So let me show you some of this. And I've got a different website to do it for. All right. Okay, so the two plugins that I like here, that's called WP All Export and WP All Import. And what's super nice with all of these is we can upload a file. And let's see if I can find one here real quick. Okay, so this is a product file. So for this website, just a little bit of background here. This website is a WooCommerce site, and they do a lot of drop shipping. And so from their manufacturers, the manufacturer sends a spreadsheet with updated products, product pricing, any discounts that are happening for the quarter, XYZ. So that's how this website gets their updates. And so they send the file, and I modify the file so that it works better for our import process here. And that's what we've got here. So have our spreadsheet, and we've got WooCommerce products. And here's just like a quick preview of what's in the spreadsheet. And so you can see we've got our product ID, SKU, the name of the product, etc. Okay. And now we can map the different spreadsheet columns and rows into what we would probably recognize in our WooCommerce product or our posts, any of that. So we could add our title. We just drag and drop. Sometimes it works. There we go. So like our title, and then we have like our WooCommerce add-on. And so I think you guys can quickly get the idea. You know, we have a spreadsheet full of content. It can be about whatever. And we can just map whatever content's in that cell to these different areas of the website. And so we can do this, and there's templates too that we can save. We've got templates, and it'll pre-fill everything here based on the spreadsheet. So as long as the spreadsheet has the exact same structure, we can templatize it and pre-fill it all here. And that's pretty much it. So then it's just going to ask us, how is it going to identify, you know, what makes this unique? And you could do post ID, the title, you know, truly anything that is 100% unique, you can then target that and then update everything using that spreadsheet. And I'll tell you what, it goes a whole lot faster than doing it myself, because on this website, we have 7,001 products. And to go one by one to load each of these pages for any sort of change is a full-time job. And I'm not about to do that. So by using the spreadsheet and these two plugins, we can have the spreadsheet updated, import it in, it runs on its own once I get it started. And typically about every quarter, I'll update anywhere between 2,500 to 4,000 products at a time using a single spreadsheet. And I use that WP All Import or Export to do it, to manage all these products. So
that's actually just overwriting records in the database? Or,
yep.
Nice.
Yeah, and there's options too. You can tell it what to update, what not to update. You know, so if there's just one element we want to do, or it'll skip anything that hasn't changed. So if it detects nothing's changed, it won't touch it. So
awesome, nice.
So yeah, so that's another fun plugin. You can use the exact same plugin too if you're migrating content. So like you started building a website, you've made a ton of changes, but they've been adding blog posts on their current site, and you've got to pull all those over. And so you could add WP all export to the live site, and you could export all of their posts. And this website doesn't have any blogs, but you can even add filtering too. So you could say for the date, anything that is equal to or newer than January 1st, 2023. It would pull it in. And so you can see how our page count went down to 1 because we've only added 1 page this year. So you can definitely customize your export, and it'll give you a migration package file too. So then you could go to your other site you're working on and import the migration file, and it'll pull over everything about all your posts. So kind of cool. It's just some different options out there for just getting granular with what you're trying to export and import without migrating entire websites or being worried about overwriting different things. So yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah, just add a note there. It's a little pricey, but it's a one-time cost. And if you do a lot of this, it's definitely you're going to make it up in hours. I mean, I know what I charge my clients for an hour, so it's going to be important, like 2 hours of work. Yep.
Yeah, it can be pricey, but again, if it's something you're using routinely and routinely saving you time, like, why not?
And this will work with all WordPress sites, not just Divi.
Correct. Yep. So yeah. So this is fun. It's been a long time since I've had talk shop about plugins.
Yeah, this is cool, man.
So yeah. Anyone else want to see something else? Questions? So Jan, if looks like you're talking, you're muted. Still can't hear you. You're unmuted, but we can't hear you. No. An alternative, Jan, if you want to just type your question in the chat, we can read it there and reply there. Also, while I'm thinking about it, I do need to get a screenshot for the Elegant Themes blog. So if you guys have a camera and you're willing to turn it on and share your smile with us, I'll get my screenshot tool here. Fire it up. And okay. Oops. All right, guys, ready? On the count of 3, give me your best smile. 1, 2, 3. You look so good. Thank you so much for indulging me in that. Sweet. Let's see, Brett, do I have an affiliate link? I actually don't think I do with them, but I'll have to double check. Let's see. Yeah, I don't think they do, or I don't. Anyway, so
Can anyone hear me?
yep, we can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear Dustin or anyone else.
Can you hear me, man? This is Chris.
Yeah, I still can't hear anyone right now.
Really?
I don't know if
Strange.
it's on my end or if it's everybody.
Yeah. Strange. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of the hour for us. Thanks for coming. Truly, thank you for coming, and it was it's great to do a demo of dynamic content, but also talk shop about plugins and different things that I'm using and why I use them, and how it makes life easier. So, yeah, thanks for coming, and I will be back next month, probably to do another demo. We'll see if I can't find a guest speaker. So we'll see. But anyways, yeah, if there's nothing else, I'll let you guys go, and I'll follow up with an email through Meetup with the link to the recording. So
Thanks, Dustin. Have a great afternoon.
yeah, you guys too.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Jan, for coming.